Hello friends, welcome back to LearnITGuide tutorials. In this video, I am going to talk about Docker container. End of this video, you will be able to understand what is Docker container, why do we use Docker, Docker architecture, and Docker components. So watch the video till the end. This is another video from our Docker and DevOps tutorial series. Related document and video links are mentioned in the description below. Please go through those links to understand this session much better from basics. Let's get started. What is Docker? Docker is an open source platform tool designed to manage the containers which allow us to build the application in a container with required libraries, binaries, dependencies to run the application, ship the container, and run anywhere. Container technology has been already explained in our previous videos. Please refer that. Docker really making an impact on the development of new generation applications. Why do we use Docker? Portability. An applications can be bundled into a single unit, and same unit can be deployed to various environments such as dev servers, testing servers, and production servers without making any changes to the container. Then lightweight operating system. Docker has the ability to reduce the size of the development by providing a smaller footprint of the operating system via containers. Fast delivery and scalable. Docker containers are pretty lightweight, so they can be deployed faster and they are very easily scalable. Docker used for continuous deployment and testing. So with the help of containers, it becomes easier for teams across different units, such as development, QA, and operations to work seamlessly across the applications. Docker also provides you the ability to run multiple isolated OS on a single host. Docker enables you to utilize the maximum resources and reduce the resource wastages of your hardware. Docker architecture and Docker components. Docker architecture depends on three main components, which are Docker client, Docker host, Docker hub, which is Docker registry. Also we have Docker images, Docker containers, Docker network, and Docker storages. So what is Docker client? Docker client is used to interact with Docker host where Docker daemon is installed, that is Docker host. Using Docker client, we can manage the Docker containers, Docker images, Docker networks, Docker storage volumes. Docker client may be available at the Docker host, or it can be used at the remote machine to manage your Docker host. Docker host, that is Docker engine. Docker host is a server where the Docker daemon is running and it manages the Docker containers and other resources. It listens and accepts the request from Docker client. Docker hub or Docker registry. So Docker hub is a repository to manage the Docker images. So it will allow us to push or pull the Docker images, which means download or upload the images. Basically, there are two types of Docker registry, Docker hub online and Docker hub offline. So the Docker hub online is available in internet and it's maintained by Docker company in cloud. We can download the publicly available images, or also we can upload the images to the Docker hub online. We have two services available with Docker hub, that is public and private. If you want your images to be available to everyone, set it to public. If you want your images only to you, then set it to private. Docker hub offline. It's available locally and maintained within the organization. By default, if we pull the images, it checks local Docker hub registry. If not finding the images locally, then it will go to download from the online Docker hub. So what is Docker images? Docker images are templates with some instructions. It is very similar to snapshot image. Docker images are read-only layer which can be used to create the containers. Docker images can be created from the container or using a Docker file with specific instructions. You can create the Docker images as well. These Docker images are very lightweight, small, and fast to deploy the containers. So what is Docker containers? Docker container is actually a read-write layer of Docker images. It is a lightweight operating system. Docker container can be created using a Docker image, and also we can create Docker images from the Docker container with record modifications. Next we move on to Docker network. We can attach the containers to a network as required because we may need a network to communicate with other containers. So what is Docker network? Docker network enables the network to communicate with other containers. By default, we have 3 networks created when you have installed Docker: bridge, host, none, overlay, Mac VLAN. So the bridge, this is the default network driver attached to the container if we didn't specify any other network types during the container creations. So any containers on the same network may communicate with other containers. Host, it allows a container to directly attach to the Docker host network. So it can be used to have a standalone container which removes the network isolations between the Docker host and the Docker container. None. This can be used to disable the networking for the container. So containers will not have an IP address when you have used this network. Also we have other network drivers can be used for other features which are overlay and Mac VLAN. Overlay is also ingress network. It can be used to connect different containers hosted on different Docker hosts or many. Mostly this network automatically used in Docker Swarm clustering environment. Mac VLAN. This network driver used to assign a MAC address to the container. So the container attached with a Mac VLAN network driver will look like a physical network attached to it. Because there are some applications would work only on physical network, not on virtual network. On that cases, we can use this Mac VLAN network. Docker storage. Any data written to the Docker container will not be available when Docker container is removed. So we must use a Docker storage to have the data permanently if need. There are 3 types of storage available with Docker. Volumes. Volumes are stored in a part of the host file system which is managed by Docker under the directory var lib docker volumes on Linux. Volumes are the best way to persist data in Docker. Bind mounts. Bind mounts may be stored anywhere on the host system, which means you share a local volume from your Docker host to Docker containers. So you can modify the data at any time from the Docker host level or from the Docker container level. Temp-fs mounts. Temp-fs mounts are stored in host system memory only, and it's never written to the host system's file system. So these are the basic introduction to Docker for beginners. Hope you have got an idea of what is Docker container, why do you use Docker, and what is the Docker architecture and its Docker components. Going forward, we will see more about each components in detail. So stay connected with us for more updates and check out our other videos related to other technologies. See you in the next video. Thank you.
How did you feel? Is it helpful? Appreciate our efforts in the comment section below. Hit like button, share with your friends about us, subscribe our channel to get further updates. Stay connected with us on social networking sites. For more free tutorials, visit our website www.learnitguide.net.